The rain tasted like ash. It clung to my trench coat, mirroring the grime that seemed permanently etched onto the streets of Marseille. Harding, that's what they called me. Harding Finch, private investigator, sent here, sniffing after a ghost. Arthur Monroe, textile magnate, vanished. His grieving widow Lila Monroe, or rather, Marguerite Dubois as she now called herself, claimed he's simply gone travelling. The local constabulary seemed inclined to agree, filing it as a missing person. But Mr. Monroe's associates back in New York weren't so sure. They hired me. The air in Dubois' apartment was thick with the scent of lilies and a sadness that felt meticulously manufactured. She moved with a predator's grace, her eyes shadowed, a smile carefully measured. She's been cooperating, in her own way. A few dropped hints, a few cryptic observations about her husband's business ventures. But something felt off. The grief felt practiced, the composure too perfect. He was a complicated man, Mr. Finch, she said, her voice a low murmur. He had many friends, many enemies. Friends, enemies, and a sudden urge to disappear to Marseille. The first breakthrough came courtesy of DeMarco, a nervous little clerk who's been working as Monroe's bookkeeper. I found him huddled in a dimly lit cafe, trembling like a stray dog. A few well-placed rats loosened his tongue. He confirmed my suspicions. Arthur Monroe wasn't just a textile magnate. He was involved in something dangerous, something that involved smuggled goods and a man known only as the collector. He didn't want anyone knowing about it, DeMarco had stammered, wiping sweat from his brow. He was scared. He was going to tell someone he trusted. Who? That's when the collector's men found DeMarco. A silent extraction, swift and brutal. I arrived too late to save him. Another loose end tied off. My investigation led me to the docks, a labyrinth of rotting wood and shadowed alleys. The contact, Benny the Blade Bellini, owing me a favor from a previous case, provided some local intelligence. Apparently, Arthur Monroe had a meeting scheduled here a week before his disappearance. A rendezvous with a woman who fits Lila Monroe's description. They argued, Benny whispered, his voice barely audible above the crashing waves. He was angry. She looked unhappy. Unhappy? Was that all it was? Then I remembered the locket. The hieroglyphic locket Lila Monroe had given me as a parting gift during our first meeting. A seemingly insignificant trinket, a sentimental keepsake, but something about it bothered me. I'd had it analyzed back in New York. The hieroglyphs weren't ancient Egyptian. They were a coded message. A message that pointed to a shipment of diamonds. A shipment that had vanished from a local warehouse. Lily's Emporium, a flower shop nestled in a quiet corner of the city. An unlikely front for a smuggling operation. I paid a visit. The air was heavy with the scent of roses and deception. The owner, a burly man with a suspicious gaze, denied any knowledge of smuggling, but I saw it in his eyes. Fear. The same fear I'm starting to recognize in everyone connected to this case. The diamonds. The smuggling. The collector. It was all converging. Arthur Monroe wasn't simply missing. He was caught in a web of lies and betrayal. A web that Lila Monroe had expertly spun. I confronted her at her apartment. The lilies were wilting, the manufactured sadness beginning to crack. You knew, didn't you? I said, my voice hard. You knew where he was. She didn't deny it. A flicker of something regret, perhaps, crossed her face. He was a fool, she said, her voice devoid of emotion. He thought he could outsmart them all. The collector, I pressed. Who is he? She hesitated. Then, with a sigh, she revealed the truth. The collector was Silas Thorne, a ruthless kingpin who controlled the city's underground network. Arthur Monroe had gotten greedy, trying to double-cross Thorne, trying to cut himself in on the diamond smuggling operation. Thorne had retaliated, eliminating Monroe and framing it as a disappearance. He owed Thorne a lot of money, she admitted. Arthur didn't pay up. She confessed that Thorne had arranged for Monroe's vacation and that she was to be Thorne's informant, ensuring that Monroe's disappearance wouldn't be investigated too thoroughly. I was just trying to survive, she said, her voice barely a whisper. Thorne wanted the diamonds. Monroe was a liability, and Lila Monroe was Thorne's pawn. Suddenly, a voice boomed from the doorway. Impressive, Finch. You've uncovered quite a bit. Silas Thorne stood there, flanked by two hulking figures. He smirked, a cruel glint in his eyes. I was hoping you'd come, he said. You've been poking around where you don't belong. A fight erupted. A chaotic ballet of fists and desperation. I managed to take down one of Thorne's men, but Thorne himself was a formidable opponent. I felt a blow to my ribs, a searing pain that threatened to incapacitate me. Just when I thought I was finished, a familiar figure emerged from the shadows. Sergeant Miller, the local police officer I'd crossed paths with earlier. He's led a squad of officers into the apartment. weapons drawn. The police apprehended Thorne and his remaining men. Miller gave me a nod of acknowledgement, a silent apology for the earlier antagonism. As Thorne was led away, he turned to me, a venomous glare in his eyes. "This isn't over, Finch," he hissed. "You haven't seen the last of me." The rain continued to fall, washing away the grime and the blood. The case was closed, but the feeling of unease lingered. I looked at Lila Monroe, who was being questioned by the police. Her face was unreadable, her eyes cold and calculating. I knew she was capable of anything. The diamonds were recovered. Arthur Monroe's fate remained a grim certainty, and Silas Thorne's promise echoed in my ears. As I walked out of Lily's emporium, the scent of roses clung to my trench coat, a bittersweet reminder of the darkness that lurks beneath the surface of even the most beautiful things. The rain tasted of ash, and I knew, with a certainty that chilled me to the bone, that this was just the beginning.